Conestoga is an ethanol production company. We produce 205 million gallons of ethanol for our 3 plants with minimal waste, with a byproduct of wet and dry distiller's grain and also corn oil extraction.
Conestoga Energy Partners is known as a group of farmers and local businessmen that got together about 11 years ago and decided to build a couple of ethanol plants. At the time there was 3 of them on the slate, but 2 of them were built, one here in Liberal, Kansas and one in Garden City, Kansas. And they were looking for basically to have another way for the commodities that are grown, the corn and sorghum that are grown in this area, to have another place to sell those products to and bring value added to the farmers. So they got together and started the plans to put these plants together and build these plants. The other thing about it is with the corn and sorghum that we do make a byproduct, a feed product, and with all the feed yards around it, it was a very good fit to sell that feed locally to the feed yards around the area.
We use MAPCON at other sites by being able to look at people's inventory, the other plants' inventory. If we have a piece of equipment that goes down and we don't have the part on site, we can log on to MAPCON and look at their inventory so that we don't have to wake someone up in the middle of the night for them to look or go to their plant. We can look, and if they do have it, then we'll make the call to the plant and have them just verify that it's there.
The surprising things about Conestoga that people may not be aware of at this plant in particular is the fact that we have a very detailed process in the way we're able to go about working on different pieces of equipment, and the functions, the co-mingling of the parts and pieces is very cross-functional in nature.
By utilizing MAPCON, we can streamline the maintenance process to maximize our efficiency in the field.
What MAPCON does for us is basically make sure that we have the parts and the pieces that we need in stock, that they are here, they're set, ready to go. We do a lot of planning of jobs, and that helps out because then we know what is in stock, what is not. Do we need to get it ordered, when it will arrive? And we can plan our maintenance schedules around those kind of activities. Plus it also makes sure that we, like I say, we do have the right pieces and parts either in stock or ordered and ready to be delivered for maintenance activities.
I think my favorite feature in MAPCON is the ability to get email notifications for any work order or any work request that has been transferred into a work order, and then when that work order has been complete, along with being able to read the notes. So that really helps me identify issues that we've had and whether they've been corrected, and what corrections were made, or what issues or what assignments or parts or anything that we might have used during that time to help fix that issue. Also being able to attach photos to some of the work requests, that's a big one as well. I think for Roy, who's our job planner, when he has to walk down an issue, we have a picture attached to that. It should make it pretty easy for him to find a leak on a line or a valve that's leaking or where it's leaking from. And he has a better idea or a better understanding of what he's going into instead of just reading text.
My favorite feature of MAPCON is the work order, the history, and the work order attachment part. The history part, it helps me out whenever I do a job. If I get the same job again or another piece of equipment that's similar, I can go back through my notes and see what I did before, so that I know kind of stuff to take, notes that I put on there as far as torque values or tools that I used or equipment that needs to be over there. And attachments, when I do a job, I do an alignment on a pump or something like that, I can attach my my alignment report, so that anybody has a question on how the alignment was, they can go to the report, go to the attachment and see my report on there.
A lot of the features that MAPCON has that I like are the ability to filter through the work orders and PMs, and the dates, all that is very helpful.
I think MAPCON helps us reduce downtime through the ability to be able to track assets and find things that are maybe causing us more problems. We can track history a little better, things that some people would rely on, me in particular previously, in memory, and now we're able to access this data in MAPCON so that it's able to lower our downtime in the long run.
If we start looking at KPIs, where are we at, how are we doing, those kind of things. Alan takes care of generating that data and has worked with MAPCON diligently so that we can get the right data pulled out of MAPCON, so we can look at our turn times as far as maintenance hours, those kind of things, how we keep the guys, are they keeping on track of getting things done and completed? How many work orders do we generate a month? How many PMs do we do a month? How many work orders from a PM that the guys find that there's an issue that they create another work order from a CM from PM, those kind of things. So it's very useful on that end of the side.
So the way I use MAPCON Mobile is when I'm out doing a PM or a route or a vibration data collection and I see an issue, I get on my app, I look through the work order history or work request, and if the problem that I'm finding is on there, I'll just leave it. If it's not, then I'll create a work request at that time so that I don't forget by the time I come back. If I don't write it down or do it then, I'll forget, and it'll be a week or so before I remember, hey, I had something going on over there, and it could save us a possible failure.
Cuts time in half. Just the fact that I can just pull up the device instead of having to go into print off a PM and going through it and going back up into inventory, checking everything.
Being able to approve purchase orders and pull data on the fly, no matter where I'm at or what I'm doing, is very, very valuable to me as a manager. It allows me to stay connected to my team remotely, which otherwise I would not be able to.
The inventory control with MAPCON is critical.
For me personally, from an operations standpoint, MAPCON really assists me on inventory control. If I need to grab a gasket, if I need to grab a speed switch, if I need to grab any kind of inventory out, one, I can look up the exact location of it in our parts crib. Also, I can look up how many of them we should have on hand before I go up there and look for it. And then also I can look to check to make sure that I'm grabbing the right piece of equipment by looking, or the right piece of part by looking back at the equipment and seeing what previous parts we've attached to that piece of equipment to know that I'm grabbing the right speed switch, the right gasket, the right bearing. It really saves time, first and foremost. If I don't have a part that I need to be here, then maybe I can wait on calling a maintenance tech in until we get the part in first, and that way we save everybody time. But as far as from looking up parts and being able to know where they're at location-wise, that's how it helps me from an operations standpoint.
Through the use of MAPCON, we know that we have the right parts in inventory. We have the pieces that we need. We've probably whittled about a third of our inventory, whittled it down through the last 2 years of going through and cleaning up inventory and making sure that we have the right parts in inventory through the MAPCON system.
I use my mobile device with that. I go up there and just scan the the QR scan, pull up my information, vendor, quantity, and so forth.
MAPCON has a very specific inventory control process that allows user-friendly interface. The MAPCON mobile and barcoding systems have allowed us to maximize our inventory functionability, with otherwise would create a large amount of paper trail. We would have a very rudimentary process to it. It allows us to maximize our inventory turns per asset by being able to track how many inventory items that we've utilized over a specific period of time, and being able to allow the inventory manager to know how many items to carry on hand at any given time.
If I need to look up a part, I can just pull out my phone, scan it, and check out my parts through there. Do cycle counts as well.
Barcoding has saved us quite a bit of time through labor-intensive cycle counting. It allows us to give the user an electronic tool to go upstairs into our inventory area and cycle count a mass amount of items very quickly, minimizing required labor to perform the task.
MAPCON's used for plant shutdowns to organize work. We get work requests throughout the year, and some of them are shutdown work orders, so we designate them as shutdown and the type, and then we organize that work into what priority it has. From there, we choose what needs to actually be worked on and what can wait, and we have a list so that if we get done early at shutdown, we can go back in through MAPCON, look at that list and say, okay, we have these other things that we already kitted and staged parts, so we'll do this other stuff. That way we don't waste time that we could be doing other things.
MAPCON during shutdown touches on all facets of shutdown. Without it, we would be very chaotic. It would be very, very rudimentary. Utilizing MAPCON for shutdown allows us to document every step of the process through a work order. By purchasing and requisitioning parts and materials to be utilized during that shutdown, to estimating potential repair time, which then increases our scheduling accuracy.
We run everything through MAPCON for plant shutdown. As far as long lead items, we get them ordered. We know when the dates are delivered, to be delivered, those kind of things. Are we going to make it in time? We also make sure that we have the right quantities of gaskets, bolts, nuts, miscellaneous things. Do we have all that in stock ahead of time so that there isn't any I'll say oopses that right in the middle of shutdown we've got to hot shot something in and cost us more for that kind of service. So we basically start planning about 3 months ahead of our shutdowns, start putting the plans together. MAPCON is the driver. Everything is put in as a work order and is tracked through MAPCON. We take that onto a spreadsheet, and then we can delegate who's going to do what. Is it a contractor that's going to be doing the work? Is it our guys who are doing the work? Amount of hours, we project hours so that we know where we are on track. Our shutdowns are typically 3 days, 3-day shutdowns, so we have to be very diligent that we know, do we have the right amount of manpower, do we have the right people in the right spot, and we use MAPCON to track that. Plus, as guys get projects done and things, we can take them off, and we can also track real-time hours of what did it take. If we estimate 4 hours and it takes us 6, well, then we know better next time as far as planning and things.
Oftentimes when we're shut down, we find a lot of stuff that we didn't know we were going to run into. So we have to create those work requests, get it transferred to a work order, expedite parts over here as quick as we can so that way we can fix the issue at shutdown before we start back up. And also for helping to control a lot of the inventory that gets exchanged. There's usually so much hustle and bustle throughout that week as far as parts being taken out of inventory. The better job that we can do at tracking some of the stuff that we pull out of inventory, the more accurate that reading will be at the end of shutdown.
MAPCON training I've attended twice, one on-site and one off-site. I was able to spend a week in Iowa with Steve, with a large group of actual maintenance managers from the ethanol industry, and had a great time. Steve was very informative, very hands-on, and was able to give us the tools required to be successful when we went back to our field. With MAPCON, I utilize a lot of the reporting functions for meetings and supporting data to allow us to have root cause analysis for failures throughout the plant over the years. MAPCON has a very ease of use when it comes to reports. They have a vast amount of reports that are already implemented into the system, and if they aren't, through MAPCON support, they'll develop and create just about any report you could ever want. I've contacted MAPCON support many times over my 5 years with our Kalen Ethanol, and through those contacts, I've had great success. I've been met with a happy and communicative team that is willing to do anything required to assist us with our needs. There's not a lot of companies out there that have that great of a customer service. I've never been told no, or we can't, or put on hold for a long time. It's always been a good process.
That's good.
And when we talk to everybody down there, they're always usually really happy and willing to do whatever's required. It's pretty amazing that you guys obviously have focused a lot on customer service. Either MAPCON's hired the right people or they've trained them exceptionally well.
I think MAPCON is helping Conestoga succeed by just always being there for us, changing the system for us just so that we can do our jobs easier and better.
I think MAPCON saves Conestoga time and money by giving us access to data in a timely manner, so we're able to look up assets and previous work that's been performed, costs and things of that nature, and it's all located in one place versus being in multiple spreadsheets.
MAPCON is helping Conestoga succeed by giving us the tools we need to be successful in our industry.
MAPCON's helping Conestoga succeed, just streamlining the process. We used to have to jump through a bunch of hoops to try to get a work order in, and then to close a work order, we had a stack of work orders, and we had a secretary that would go through that stack once a month or so and go through MAPCON and close them herself, and all she would put was complete. Now, with the history that we've had in the last 5 or 6 years, we can go back through and actually see what was done, how much money was spent, and if even the right parts were used back then.
I think Conestoga saves money with using MAPCON just by saving time looking for whatever it is you need. MAPCON has it right on hand. You can open MAPCON and know exactly where to go, and you just save time.
I think MAPCON is helping Conestoga succeed through the process of eliminating some of the downtime that could be created through having to go through and research what work is going to be done on an individual day. We're able to schedule things in a way that our techs are able to know how their day is going to be each day, the day before or even the week before, and we're able to keep them on task running through their projects that they may have to do on any given day. They're able to know what parts are in inventory if they need a random part that maybe wasn't kitted for them. They're able to know what's upstairs in our inventory, and we're able to easily access that inventory and proceed with the work continued as scheduled. So that way we have less downtime of the people, we have less downtime of the plant, and we have a more efficient running plant. Our day, if we did not have MAPCON, would be a lot less organized. Currently it is very organized. We're able to access data about different pieces of equipment and assets in a timely manner that we wouldn't necessarily be able to access without a cumbersome set of spreadsheets or things of that nature without MAPCON.
Without MAPCON, we would not systematically be able to schedule and tackle projects and jobs as accurately as we do.
It would be hard to imagine not doing this job without MAPCON.
My day would be very reactive. Without MAPCON, I would not have the ability to have accountability because I'd have no trackability. I would have no history on any issues in the plant. I would never be able to diagnose a problem that we had actually fought before as accurately, and potentially could cause reactive downtime.
If someone in my role was thinking about purchasing MAPCON, I would say that it's not just a maintenance program. You can also use it operationally in a plant as well. You can track things that may need to be saved for long periods that usually only an operator in a plant is going to utilize. So that way you know exactly where it is when it's time to use it. It also helps you further the operator knowledge through training. It makes training purposes easier because now you can identify what goes on a PM. Instead of just telling an operator to go check this piece of equipment You can tell them exactly what to check on the PM, what's good, what's bad, and they're going to know exactly what's expected of them. It makes it easily duplicatable across different operators as well.
If someone were to thinking about buying MAPCon, I would tell them do it because it is a lot easier than any other software out there.
If someone in my same role was looking at purchasing MAPCon, I would tell them to pull the trigger. The user interface and the functionality of MAPCon is second to none.
If someone was in my role trying to purchase MAPCon, I'd tell them get it. It's helped a lot with knowing what work is in the system, knowing what where it's at in the process, what to schedule based on priority. I would say get it. It's a lot easier than trying to get paper and pencil and paper all day, or trying to remember what was done. After 4 or 5 years, you might forget some things.
I would tell them it'd be a good investment. Once you become pretty knowledgeable with the program, there's really a lot you can do with it, even just from an operations standpoint. And maintenance and management, you know, they use it even more than someone in my role would use it. And I haven't even had any training. I've just picked up from what I've seen, and I still can utilize in many different ways. So I think once you go above and beyond you know, your inventory guy, your maintenance manager and stuff like that, I think it really helps them perform their job a lot better. And as far as the relation between operations and maintenance, and like I said, with those issues and stuff like that, and it has that, I guess, that cohesiveness to it.
The partnership with MAPCon and the things that they do and how they can modify or work to bring our program to pull the data and the stuff that we really need to see what we are doing and going on and things. And they've been a great company to partnership up with and work with.